Last time our story was about the birth of Isaac. Well, after he was grown up and Abraham was old, Abraham wanted Isaac to have a wife from people who loved God. But the people where they lived right now were not those kind of people. And so Abraham called in his most helpful servant, the one he trusted the most, and he said to him, I want you to go to the city where we came from, where my family lives, and pick a wife for Isaac. I don't want him to have a wife from these people. I want him to have a wife back where my family lives. And so he gave the servant camels full of presents for his family, and the servant went off to see who he could find to be a wife for Isaac. And as he was traveling, he came to this town, the place where they lived, and he came to a well. And he had the camels lay down in front of the well. And the servant was very worried about who he was going to choose for Isaac's wife. He wanted to be sure she was the right one. So he prayed to God and he said, please help me choose the right woman for Isaac's wife. When she comes, I will ask for some water, and then if she says, let me give you some water for your camels too, then I will know that she is the one that you have chosen for Isaac. And as he was finishing what he was praying, a girl came whose name was Rebecca, and she was the daughter of Abraham's brother's brother. And she had a brother named Laban. And so when she was coming to the water, she got some water from the well, and the servant said, may I have a drink? And she gave him a drink. And then she said, oh, let me get some water for your camels as well. So she got some water for the camels, and she went and fed the camels some water. Well, then the servant knew, since she gave the camels water as well, that that was the one that God had chosen for Isaac's wife. So the servant said to her, is there any place in your room that I could spend the night tonight? And she said, oh yes. And so he gave her 2 bracelets and a ring, and 2 bracelets to go with it. And so she ran home to her brother, and she said to them, her mother and her brother and the rest of her family, the things that the servant had done. And they could see that she had all of the 2 bracelets and the ring on her hand. And so Laban, her brother, went to see the servant, and he said, come to the house, because we have food there for you. But the servant said, no, I cannot do that until I tell you why I am here. He said, I come from the land of Abraham, and Abraham has sent me here to find a wife for his son Isaac. And today I prayed that God would give me a sign that the right woman was here, and Rebecca came, and she did exactly as I asked God to have her do. So I know that she is the one that has been chosen for Isaac. And so Laban and the family were happy for Rebecca to go with the servant. So the servant gave them gifts from Abraham. He gave them jewelry, and he gave them clothes, and all kinds of other presents to go with it. And so as they were going to leave, Laban said, wait, let's wait for 10 days and see so that she can spend some time here with us before she leaves, because we won't see her again. But the servant said, no, I need to take her today. And so Laban said, well, let's ask Rebekah. So they asked Rebekah, do you want to go or not? And she said, no, I will go. So the servant knew that Rebekah was the one to take. And the next day, the servant and Rebekah went back home to find Abraham, to show Abraham and Isaac Rebekah. As they were going, Isaac came, and he saw them. And Rebekah said to the servant, who is that man? And the servant said, that is Isaac, the one you're going to marry. So she put her veil over her face, because back then, in that time, you didn't let your husband that you were going to marry see your face until you were married. So then Rebekah met Isaac, and they got married, and the Bible says that Isaac loved her very much.